Hello students. Today we are going to learn the second chapter of your geography textbook, Globe, Latitudes and Longitudes. The first thing which comes in your mind would be, what is a globe? Now let me tell you, the globe is a true model of the earth. As we cannot see the earth on a whole, so we have made a replica of it and we have termed it as globe. Globe may vary of different size and types also. There are some globes which we cannot carry very easily, whereas there are some globes which are very small and can be carried into our pockets also. On a globe, we can see countries, we can see continents, we can see oceans and in their correct size. Now, Earth rotates and revolves. Now, rotation of the Earth is on an imaginary line and we have termed it as axis. The axis, it joins the North Pole and the South Pole. And remember, it is an imaginary line. The real Earth has no such needle. The other imaginary lines, such as latitude and longitudes, are drawn with respect to these points. Here you can see two different images. One showing you latitudes and next one showing you the longitude. Let's take latitude first. The latitude, as you can see in the picture, divides the earth into two halves, north and south, or we can also say that northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Equator is the 0-degree latitude and is termed as the central latitude out of Earth. And all these lines are parallel to each other. Now, next, we will switch over to the next image, that is of longitude. Prime meridian is the 0-degree longitude which divides the earth into two halves, west and east, or we can also say western and eastern hemisphere respectively. Prime meridian joins North Pole to South Pole. Now, after the brief introduction to latitude and longitude, let me explain you latitude and longitude in detail one by one. Latitude. What are latitude? Latitudes are imaginary horizontal lines drawn on the earth from east to west. These lines are parallel to each other. That is why they are also called as parallels of latitude. Latitude is the angular distance between the equator and any point north or south of it on the surface of the earth, and it is always measured in degrees. Equator is the longest latitude, and whenever we count latitude, we start it from equator and we move towards the pole. This is applicable for both northern and southern hemisphere. Now one more thing here, important part. From any latitude, if you draw a perpendicular line to the pole, it will always measure 1/4 of 360 degrees, that is 90 degrees. Thus, 90 degrees north latitude marks the North Pole and 90 degrees south latitude marks the South Pole. All the latitude which are the north of equator, we call them as north latitudes or northern parallels, and we denote them with N symbol. Whereas south parallels which are located on the south of equator are called south latitudes or southern parallels and are denoted by the symbol S. The latitude are full circles which keep decreasing. The size of the latitude, it keeps decreasing while we move from equator towards the pole. Here in this slide you can see important parallels of latitudes. Equator is one of the most important latitude. There are other important parallels of latitude. As you can see in the image, Tropic of Cancer, that is in the northern hemisphere, the degree is 23.5 degrees north. The Arctic Circle, 66.5 degrees north. And the North Pole. Next, if we come to southern hemisphere, Tropic of Capricorn is one of the main important latitude and the degree is 23.5 degrees south, and Antarctic Circle which has the degree 66.5 degrees south. Now, till now you have read about important latitudes. Now you are going to learn about heat zones of the earth. Question may arise in your mind like, why in India we have a different climate, or why in European country there is a different climate. In this chapter, in this section, we are going to learn about that. Let's take an introduction to the heat zone of the earth. As we move away from the equator, the temperature also decreases. The equator and the region near it receive direct rays of the sun, whereas the region away from the equator, it receives slanting rays of the sun. Direct rays of the sun always gives more heat in comparison to slanting rays. On the basis of different amount of heat received by the sun, the earth has been categorized into 3 zones. As you can see in the image, green color section, it is torrid zone. The next, on the above the torrid zone, and below the torrid zone, it is temperate zone. Here temperature is less in comparison to torrid zone. And the last zone is frigid zone, that is very closer to the two poles of the earth. Now torrid zone, it lies between Tropic of Cancer and between Tropic of Capricorn. The word torrid means hot, and this area receives maximum heat or direct sun rays as the midday sun exactly overhead at least once a year on all latitudes in this zone. Temperate zone. There are two temperate zones, northern temperate zone and southern temperate zone. The northern temperate zone lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere, and while in the southern hemisphere, the southern temperate zone lies between Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. The midday sun never shines overhead on any latitude beyond the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. That is the reason why this zone receives slanting rays of the sun and are neither too hot nor too cold. Frigid zone. There are two frigid zones, the northern frigid zone and the southern frigid zone. The northern frigid zone lies between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, and the southern hemisphere consists of southern frigid zone lies between Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. The sun does not rise above much horizon over here. Therefore, its rays are always slanting and provide less heat. Thus, the zone is very cold. Now here, one question can come in your mind. What is the horizon? Horizon is the line where sky and the land meets. For example, if you go to any section anywhere, there will be a point where you can see that the land and the sky is meeting. That is the horizon.